Fifian le temo le tai au ua whantas mai ia le whionga le sui pale mia o le malo New Zealand o le ulua I Pasifika ua ia umia. Ma usia lea matati ia o le avea ma sui pale mia tonu o New Zealand. Honourable Deputy Prime Minister Carmel Sepuloni is with us this morning. Ta alofa lava ma loi lelei. And good morning, welcome to the program, Honourable Carmel.
Talofa lava, Tavai, and talofa lava to all the listeners out there.
Ta alofa lava, how are you this morning?
I'm good, thank you.
Yeah.
Looking forward to a busy day in my own electorate here in Carlton.
Okay. This is your first time to be with us here on Radio Samoa, Honourable Carmel. Congratulations from the management and staff of Radio Samoa.
Thanks.
When it was announced you are the Deputy Prime Minister of New Zealand, first ever Pacific Island, was this one of your dreams or you were born to be who you are? Yeah.
I've always been interested in politics, and I, like so many other Pacific people here, had a parent who was a migrant, came over and worked the hard jobs. For my dad, it was the railways and the freezing work. And their dream for us was always to get an education and go on and not have to work on the factory floors, but not just to work for ourselves, to work for the betterment of our own families and also our communities. And so this job gives me a great opportunity to do that.
Honourable Carmel, I've heard that your dad was on his way back from Samoa. He didn't even know that his daughter was the Deputy Prime Minister of New Zealand. How did you let him know? Was it you or someone else let him know?
Well, when he was still in Samoa, the decision was still being made.
Yes.
But if he was here, I would have talked to him about the fact that I was in line to potentially be made the Deputy Prime Minister. I didn't want to tell him while he was over there on the phone that this might happen, just in case the whole village of Vailele found out before a decision had even been made. So when he arrived back from Samoa, I think it was the day before the decision was made, my older son picked him up from the airport and then put him on speakerphone so I could tell him what was happening. And the chances were that the next day this was going to happen. So he was very proud, as any Samoan, Tongan, Pacific parent would be.
Yes, absolutely. Well, for me as a Samoan and all of us here at Radio Samoa, we're very proud of you. Okay, now, you were for the first time to represent New Zealand in the Pacific Leaders Forum in Fiji a few weeks back, Honourable Carmel. How was it?
It was really good. The relationships between New Zealand and other Pacific nations are strong. It was wonderful to be able to see some of the Pacific leaders that I've had a chance to get to know over many years, as well as meet some of the new ones. And I just think, we're in a really good place with our relationship, and we're on the same page with regards to the challenges and wanting to coordinate to respond to those challenges for our whole Pacific region together.
So what issue that was on the top of the agenda? Are you able to tell us, please?
There were lots of issues. One of them, in particular, raised by Samoa, the Prime Minister for Samoa, was the issue around labour mobility and the REC scheme. The Prime Minister for Samoa has been quite public about her concerns that they may be losing some of the workforce they need in Samoa to the REC scheme. And so Samoa's undertaken a review of the REC scheme on their end to make sure that it is the right people that are coming to take up those places, that it's not hurting their own labour workforce because they're losing the workers they need over there. I think it's fair and reasonable that Samoa does that, and so that was one of the big topics of conversation. Okay,
thank you, Honourable Carmel. Now, we found out this week that unemployment benefit numbers dropped, which is good news. Is this a milestone that we need to celebrate, or is there something in the report that not yet revealed, Honourable Carmel?
I think it is a milestone because we continue to have decreasing benefit numbers despite everything that we faced. So, we had this global pandemic. At the beginning of COVID, Treasury was saying that we could reach up to 490,000 people on benefit, and that ended up not being the case. We barely reached 390,000, and we've been reducing since then. Our labour market is strong. People, different population groups that are often affected by these economic shocks include Pacific, but we've seen really strong exits for Pacific off benefit into employment. So our Pacific people are doing much better than what we would have expected, given everything that we face.
Honourable Carmel, I need to ask you because I found out from some of the reports this week that National are not happy because they're now saying other benefits, the numbers are going up. Just the unemployment benefit numbers coming down. What's your...
Well, they're not going up. At the moment, we're at about 344,000. We still haven't returned to pre-COVID levels.
Yeah.
But as I said, Treasury was saying we could get up to 490,000. So despite the odds, we've done really well, and we've had more people going off benefit into work than we ever have since electronic records began in 1996. That's partially because the economy's been performing well, but also because we put money into MSD to help them support people to get into work, as well as started and invested in programs like Manura Mahi, flexi wage, apprenticeship boost, so that we're not only putting our young people particularly into work, but we're actually getting them the training that they need to get into good work.
Honourable Carmel, I need to ask you, please, about Stuart Nash. The opposition parties disagree about Chris Hipkins' decision to give him his other portfolios. Looks like he's standing by his man, even though he's giving him a final warning. What's your take on this?
I support Chris Hipkins' decision. Stuart did some things wrong and has acknowledged that, and he has also said that if he was the Prime Minister, he would have made the same decision. It was the mistakes made have been responded to. He no longer has the police portfolio as a minister. He's been demoted now to the bottom of the cabinet minister's rankings, and he is on a final warning. So I think it was proportionate, like it was the right decision to make, given the breaches of the code of conduct. And so I stand by the Prime Minister and the decisions that he's made.
If I may ask you, Honourable Deputy Prime Minister, please, what do you think of National's plan to rewrite school curriculum for year 1 to year 8? Do you think this is something good for our Pacific students?
No, not at all. They would be the worst people to try and rewrite a curriculum. They don't necessarily understand all of the needs of learners. They're not the educational experts or professionals. The ones that are the educational experts and professionals are our teachers and our educators and the people that are working in that sector. They know what's best. They've studied education. They work with our young people. And so, again, what we're seeing is National is oversimplifying something and coming up with a solution that wouldn't work and, in fact, could be harmful. And they are acting like they're the experts when they clearly are not.
Okay, our final question this morning, Honourable Deputy Prime Minister. We had a talk with one of our popular Samoan Tamali of Samoa, Dave Letele. Well, he's been doing lots of good things for our community. He was in Hawke's Bay some weeks back, and what he did see, there are people there that really need some help. So we need to ask you, please, Honourable Deputy Prime Minister, what are some of the support packages that they have been put in place to help our people in Hawke's Bay?
Firstly, I just want to acknowledge Dave Letele and the work that he does on the ground. He's really passionate about our community and he's really action-driven, so he does get in there to make things happen for families that are facing challenges. And he works, he would agree, I think, works really well with MSD to try and achieve positive outcomes. We have, from the start, we've had the civil defence payment, so I think over $70 million has gone out the door for civil defence payments. Many of the families affected have access to those. We've put business support in place for the businesses that have been hurt. We've had temporary accommodation service help in place for families that haven't been able to return to their homes, and that's run through MB. We put $11.5 million towards our social services who have been on the ground supporting with flood and cyclone recovery in those regions. Those are some of the things that we put in place. But But there's so much to do, and there's going to be more that comes because we've got roads to fix, we've got silt to remove, we've got to support people who can't go back into their houses. So this is going to be a bit of a long journey, but we're committed to sticking by our families and our communities to walk through this with them.
Okay, Whawhetai Tele Lava, thank you so much, Honourable Deputy Prime Minister Carmel Sepuloni. Before I let you go, your Siva Samoa at the Polyfest, that was very nice. Can I ask you, was it you or Alpito or Barbara Edmonds who helped Chris Hipkins?
Because I didn't grow up in Auckland around lots of other Samoans, my Siva Samoa is terrible.
Yeah.
So the best people to support Chris Hipkins with his Siva Samoa was Barbara Edmonds, and Alpito's the other one that can give good lessons as well.
Thank you so much, Whawhetai Tele Lava, Malo Lava, Deputy Prime Minister Carmel. Well, have a great day and have a safe weekend.
Malo lava Tavai.
Whawhetai Lava. Yeah, o le whionga I le palimia, sui palimia o New Zealand, Honourable Deputy Prime Minister Carmel Sepuloni, ma le whaataranoanga i le nei fo i tai a whautu tuarwere sa mos whalima, iwa tolu, mo.